Lebanese civil war, a small number of women took up arms and joined the men on the front lines. These female fighters were not many, but in places like here, on what used to be Beirut's front line, they made up for their small numbers by their commitment in combat. The following film by Bilal Khreis hears from some of these women. It offers a fresh perspective on the Lebanese conflict and on the issue of women at war. This is Women Warriors.
My sister's name was Sophie. She was killed in 1977 in a bomb blast in the street at El Tayouni. She met with her destiny on her way to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I loved her so much, was very attached to her. She was my best friend. If she was still alive, maybe my life would have been different. I wouldn't have continued to fight in the war. I would have stopped, because she wouldn't have allowed me. She hated war and anything to do with war. 2 weeks after Sophie's death, my brother was struck in the head by shrapnel when a bomb hit our house. It was only a small piece of shrapnel, but it paralyzed him. This is the old road to Sidon. Many fierce battles took place all around this area from 1977 onwards. As soon as the fighting erupted, they closed the roads, and all hell broke loose. The first time I held a weapon was in 1977. I was about 12 years old. I fought here. I fought in Al-Matahin area, at the Hajar building, the Al-Shamuniya alleyway, and the barracks. Wherever they needed me, I was there. I moved around and fought in many places, not just in one location. And at one time, I stayed in the barracks. When a person is fighting in a battle, they don't know if they have shot someone or not. Bullets are flying from everywhere, from left and right. You simply cannot tell. If someone says they can, just disagree. I'm telling you, you cannot. Your body is so tense and you can't focus on anything, whether you've shot one particular person or another. I don't regret it, no. Why should I have regrets? I know I've defended my neighborhood, my family, and myself. My favorite weapon is the AK-47 rifle, with a rounded steel rifle stock. Also the B7s, grenades, you know, the B7, the RPG. What do you want me to love? I lived among men and saw how they were living. And when one of them would leave their home to return the next day in a coffin. What? How can you love? If I loved, do you think I would have married? It didn't even enter my mind. I now work as a school bus driver. I take the students to school. And I give them sweets and buy them crisps.
العسكر شو كنت تعطيهم لما يعذبوك؟
I used to give them a bullet.
هذيك الأيام
In those days, it was necessary to do so. But nowadays, we're older and have responsibilities, you know.
كيف كنت تقضي لياليك يا مس بيرو؟
As you can see, I would light coal for fire. It would be freezing cold. And sometimes you were alone. I was living a military lifestyle, living with other soldiers. I continued to live this way, and no one ever stood in my way. So I continued in this way and was comfortable with my lifestyle, and thank God I still am until now. Fire and war? They're like each other. Fire is raging and the war is raging. Fire will not die out on its own. You have to put it out yourself. In the same way, the bullets will not stop until you stop the fighting. I don't think I will ever carry a gun again.
بعد ما انتهت المعركة
When the battle ended, it was like the window of my memory had opened completely.
فتحته على وسع. أنا كل عمري
For my whole life, I had worn men's clothes. But suddenly, I changed dramatically, a 180-degree turn.
80 درجة القصص عندي.
I started wearing skirts. I started wearing dresses and high heels. I fixed my hair the way I liked it. I bought makeup. I wanted to explore myself. I wanted to know my body. I started noticing other girls my age and the lives they led. I wanted to live like them. I'm from a village called Bit near the border with occupied Palestine. I was about 7 years old when I first heard about something called a weapon. The first time I saw one was when my father was teaching my older brothers how to use a weapon against a monster called Israel, which could attack us at any moment. I watched my father teach my brothers how to dismantle the Kalashnikov and then how to put it back together. That's how I learned. We moved around a lot and settled in Beirut. I was about 16 years old then. That was during the Civil War in 1986. My experience in Beirut was very brief. I didn't like it because I was fighting from the roof of my building. My family lived in the same building. My family lived on the 7th floor, and I was on the rooftop. I would sometimes shoot from my bedroom window. Whenever we were spotted on the roof, we would go downstairs into the apartment. I would go into my bedroom where I kept all my school books and things and started shooting from the window. Bullets would hit my window panes. It was not a pleasant experience. I did not achieve anything. I only achieved one thing. I got to fire weapons. I went to the south because the enemy I was taught to fight was not here. Not in the streets and on the rooftops of buildings here. No, it was down there in the south, in the valleys and mountains. On the land where I grew up and which meant a lot to me. The land from which we were evicted, which was occupied and destroyed, and where we had the enemy living in our house, among our belongings.
بأرضنا فإنه رجعت.
That's why I wanted to fight in the south.
إذا بدك الأقوى.
A great cause worth dying for.
إنه موت إنه كرمالها.
Just to show you the irony of the whole situation, the first time I carried a weapon, and then another time when I first held my son, I carried them on the same shoulder. This is where I used to rest my Kalashnikov. And when I first held my newborn son, this is how I held him. Usually a mother rests her newborn on the side of the heart. But I don't know, I just put him here. If I said that I was thinking about it at the time, I would be exaggerating. No, I didn't think much about it at all. I was forced to be a fighter. My father taught me when I was 7 years old. I don't imagine raising my son in the same way my father raised us. Maybe the circumstances were different back then. The situation now doesn't justify me teaching my son to use weapons to defend himself. I should be the one to defend him, as I am the one who brought him into this life. Even if defending him requires me to bear arms again, that would be the only reason why I would ever carry a gun again.
My name is Comrade Maysalun Jabr Farhat from the Al Matain village in North Metan region. The first time I used a weapon was back in 1974. I was 13, going on 14 at the time. I didn't stop until 1991. This is the area from where we based ourselves. We put up barricades and made a place for the artillery, and we took our positions. This was the main location for us, here on this hill, called Hill Rib Talatin. This place holds many memories of my life. This soil brings back many memories. We used to dig the bunkers with a pickaxe and a shovel. We'd remove the soil and put it in sandbags. This soil is very special to my heart. This is the location of Hill Rib Talatin. This was our bunker. Opposite the trench is the Al Adisa village, where the Israelis and the forces of Israel's ally, Saad Haddad, would ambush us. We fought here for 3 years until 1978. This is the Al Manara location. That's where the enemy maintained a very strong position. They were heavily barricaded there. I have attended 3 military training courses. Each was for a full 40 days. For each training course, they used to bring me to the south, from the eastern strip to the middle strip. This site is still the same. It didn't change. But then again, it has been 30 or 35 years now. So I'm sure many things have changed. In our days, it was not exactly the same. I love weapons a lot. They are part of me. I feel they are part of my blood. This gun is our honor and our dignity. After I was married and became pregnant, I continued as a fighter. For 6 months of my pregnancy, I carried a gun. But then I felt tired and rested until the time I gave birth. Maybe I have killed many. I cannot say how many. But it isn't necessary to count them. So many people were injured in the battles. I injured many people. And likewise, I was injured here and here. Palestine is south of the south. Palestine is the national cause. I was 14 years old when I married. I married a fighter from the Syrian Socialist Nationalist Party. For a period of time, we were fighting on different fronts. In 1986, he was killed in action when we were fighting in the same location but in different places. We all had a common destiny, to become a martyr. My son was arrested in 1985. He was 15, turning 16 years old. I am 14 or 15 years older than my son. He carried out an operation against the Jews and Israelis. And he was arrested and sent to athlete prison for 2 years. After that, he was taken to Al Khayyam prison, where he was held for 10 years. I raised him to struggle, to be a fighter, and I will raise my grandchildren in the same way.
There's a difference between studying God and experiencing Him personally. We discovered Him in many dangerous places, in the killing fields and in such places where we thought that He would not be present. But it was in just those places where He came to us. There was one night that I considered the beginning of when my life and my personality changed. The first time I ever held a gun was in 1973, when I began training. And at that time, there was a lot of talk about the Palestinian armed presence in Lebanon and how it was dangerous to Lebanon's security and sovereignty. Fighting broke out between the Lebanese army and the Palestinian Liberation Organization in Lebanon. We were defending each other against an enemy that was aiming its guns at us. On the night of May 6, 1976, in Martyrs Square, in the city center, there was a battle. And I mean battle in all senses of the word. The area was empty. I moved forward slowly with the other female fighters. We requested to be relocated to one of the front lines where the enemy was present. I mean the Palestinians or their allies.
القوى الأخرى اللي كانت موجودة على الأرض يعني أو فلسطينيين أو حلفائهم وكانوا يجوا بالليل يعني
The opposition forces occupied a building in Martyrs Square each night. So we sought permission from our leaders to seize this building. But they refused as they feared for our lives. But one day, without orders, we proceeded to secure the building and made the building our position. I was in charge of this site and decided to change the position of our defense. That night, the night of May 6th, they launched a very strong attack on our location. Even though there was a ceasefire agreement, they attacked us in the hundreds. About 2 or 3 hours before the attack, I had a feeling they would attack us. For the first time in my life, I really and truthfully prayed to God. She's watching over each one of us. There was a great feeling of fear and tension. But there was no time to think because bullets were coming ever closer to us, so we had to react quickly. After 5 hours, they got very close and surrounded us. But we managed to stop the attack and push them back. They almost reached us, but thank God, I consider this our baptism. I think that women can be better fighters than men. Because a woman has inside of her all the energy of mothering, and all the energy of life, and all the energy of love. This energy is used to defend the people she loves. Training to fight was a good experience for me, a positive one. It suited my personality and my nature. The training gave me, as it gave everyone else, a kind of serious strength. It made me ready for anything in the future. I think it was a school to build self-esteem and confidence. You're asking me if I was ever afraid because I've killed. During fighting, you kill the person coming at you and shooting at you. You don't have time to think about not killing him. The instinct of self-protection is a natural human instinct that God put in us. In war, there's no time to think. I don't know for sure, but I guess that people were killed by us shooting at them. But did I ever regret it? Never. I thank God so much for the peace within. I cannot explain how. I guess God is the reason why I have peace within. My weapon now, it's the rosary beads, because I'm a strong believer in God's presence, and I have faith in Him. And I strongly believe that the Virgin Mary is our mother. And she is watching over us like she watched over Jesus Christ. She's watching over each one of us.